Welcome to DIFC Unplugged. My name is Crisita Gracia, and I'm the Sector Head for Insurance and Reinsurance in the Business Development Department of the DIFC Authority. Today, we are joined by Mr. Peter England, Head of Commercial Insurance Middle East for Zurich Insurance Company. He is an active market member in the DIFC insurance community and a passionate mentor for startups and insurtech companies. Good to have you today, Peter.
Thank you, Grace. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Zurich is a well-known global brand when it comes to the world of insurance. Now, for the sake of those who are less familiar about the company and what you do, could you give us some insights and brief update on the kinds of risks that you cover from the IFC?
Yes, first, thanks for having me, Grace. It's a pleasure to be here. So when it comes to the DIFC business, so we operate primarily as a reinsurer. And it's fair to say that over the years here in the DIFC, we've seen the center grown quite spectacularly. Last year, it grew at 23%, and the overall market size now is more than $2.6 billion.
Wow.
So we operate in this environment, and as many other reinsurers here, our portfolio is very heavy on three types of lines of business, as we refer to them. It's property business, it's construction business, and it's also energy business. Mm-hmm. But apart from that, roughly 25% of our portfolio, what we refer to as liabilities and specialties. Mm-hmm. And these are a bit more specialized insurance types. It could be anything from insuring directors and officers and their rights and liabilities when it comes to their board assignments. But it could also be companies that are going public and all the risks that are related to that process in itself. So that, in essence, is what we do. So to answer your question, 75% would be property, construction, and energy, and the remaining 25% would be specialties and liabilities.
Yeah, but that's still a very diverse line of business. And I would imagine that you also cater to different markets in the region through the IFC.
Absolutely. So the reinsurance business is a global business in itself, and the regulation here in the DIFC wouldn't hinder us from writing any kind of global exposure, really, other than sort of subject to sanctions and other regulations. But as for many operators here in the DIFC, the UAE is a very important market. Saudi Arabia is also an important market. But we would write risks across the GCC countries, but also in North Africa, to some extent in India and Pakistan as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's marvelous to hear.
Thank you.
Well, the DIFC insurance sector has grown massively since Zurich joined us about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, can you share your perspectives on how this sector has grown from a small in number sector to being a global hub for insurance and reinsurance, noting that we are now a 125 strong insurance market?
Absolutely. I think the attractiveness stems from many things, but what many companies look to achieve is geographical diversification. It could be a strong dependency on U.S. markets or European markets, and they see the growth potential in the Middle East and in the UAE in particular as particularly attractive. And I think I alluded to, and I mentioned some of the growth rate that were quite spectacular last year, and we expect the region to continue to grow. But there are other kind of fundamental reasons as well that makes very attractive. We talk about things like low insurance penetration rates. So that is effectively the uptake among the greater population when it comes to insurance purchases. And this region in particular stands out in terms of having very low still insurance penetration rate compared to other mature markets. And if you add these things together, growing economies, low insurance penetration rates, that makes it a very interesting play. And if you look at the DIFC particularly, then it's also the offshore status of the DIFC, the winning regulation, and the fact that we can run our businesses fairly capital light compared to if we would have operated onshore.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are certainly a witness to the growth of the DIFC community, the changes in, the regulation and how businesses are being run from the center. So that's a good tenure, 15 years, and, growing really, really strong. And not only have you seen the market players come to the DIFC, but you have also seen some solid ties that are now forged within these other 125 entities, as well as other financial services companies that are based out of the center.
Yep.
So now that you have been in Dubai yourself for a good number of years, what is it about Dubai that makes the place feel like home to you?
Well, there's so many things, Grace, but I think first and foremost, from a personal standpoint, I think my family is very happy here. It's a very safe, secure environment. We enjoy the lifestyle. We feel very blessed in that sense. But I think, and not trying to get back on the corporate track, but I think eventually, I think there's a combination of that, those fulfillments that we experience on the personal side, but also having a great excitement on professionally as well. Mm-hmm. The people we come across, the claims that we deal with, the clients that we deal with, the traveling, and the fact that Dubai is very much a hub. So it's not only about enjoying being in Dubai, it's also enjoying the exposure to other regions and countries as well. So I think if you add all these things together, I think it becomes a very attractive place to live and operate.
Well, it comes as no surprise for me to hear that from you. I mean, I do resonate with your feelings as well, as an expat here. I also love the city and also consider it as my home, me and my family. Yeah. Now, back in 2023, you have, partnered with Innovation Hub in terms of accelerating the growth of the insurtech firms in the industry. Yeah. Now, what's Zurich's perspective on technology in the insurance industry per se?
So Zurich's view is that we believe that the industry as large is very ripe for disruption. I think it's fair to say that there is a need to go from having more product focused businesses to become more service oriented. And I think in that sense, technology has a vital role to play. Mm. It could be anything to create sort of digital interface between our clients. It has to do with how we view and how we underwrite risks as well, when it comes to using data and insights and leverage that to the best of our capabilities. And it could have also to do with how we mitigate and handle quite a bit more kind of growing exposures and more difficult exposures like cyber, for instance, where also technology has an important role. We want to become more lean, more efficient as well. And that includes not only the customer-facing aspect of our business, but also the back end, our policy and claims administration, making sure that contract certainty applies, that a certain contract is mirrored sort of one-to-one, say a master policy versus a local policy. So I think all those things make us quite keen to continue to invest, as we did with the fintech hive, but also to develop these skills in-house. I think on the back of it as well, there's a talent perspective. We see that there's a lot of winning great individuals and talent out there, and I think if we can attract these minds and having them sort of part of our own ecosystem and our business, I think that's a great thing.
There's really so much room to grow, isn't it, when it comes to insurtech, innovation, technology. And if you really think about it, that partnership is truly very exciting because it doesn't just open the doors of opportunities, for these technologies to really help the insurance industry penetrate those other key markets, but also it's positively challenging, right? Because, we are known as an industry that is that still has a long way to go when it comes to technology. Yep. Now, you've touched upon the last question that I have for you, which is talent. And perhaps it's one of the things that we love talking about whenever we get to talk to our industry peers. Now, the emerging talent in the finance industry is drawn to fintech and innovation, but insurance is a sector that doesn't really come to mind for them. Now, if you have some words of encouragement to the next generation, why should they consider building a career in insurance?
Yeah, I can tell how I look at it, and I think coming back to the point you're making is that I think we have to dig a bit under the surface. So we don't necessarily need to look at the notion of insurance and reinsurance that, as you say, are maybe perceived as quite boring at times. But I have experienced that it's anything but, right? And I feel truly grateful, as I said, to be part of an industry where kind of geopolitical events, where business life and trends in the US or whatever that might be impact what I'm doing on a daily basis, and it goes fast as well. So it's a very, very rewarding and fascinating and exciting area to be in that sense. I think also, coming back to looking beyond the surface, I think you have to look at it in terms of as a young talent, you need to look for not maybe the what, but also the context. What would be a winning kind of environment, an environment when I can meet a diverse set of individuals from different parts of the world, but also individuals that I look up to and want to operate with and want to contribute with. And also last, of course, where's a place where I feel that I can make a significant impact? That becomes even more important the older we get, doesn't it? So I think if all those things make sense to you, I think it makes sense to look for a career both in the insurance and the reinsurance space.
Thank you so much for that. Well, much appreciate your time today, Peter.
Thank you, Grace.
I really appreciate your insights and thoughts that you have shared with us here today.
Appreciate
that wraps up our DIFC Unplugged podcast.